The sun had barely risen when Michael Thornton, a self-made millionaire CEO, walked into his corner office. His mind was already on numbers, meetings, and deals. But when he opened the door, he froze, sitting in his leather executive chair, legs crossed with a calm expression, was not his assistant or a business partner, but the janitor, the man who usually swept floors and emptied trash. Michael's jaw tightened. What was he doing here? He was about to call security when the janitor calmly looked up and said something that shook the CEO to his core. Michael Thornton was the kind of CEO who believed success came only from hard work, long hours, and iron discipline. His days were packed with power lunches and endless contracts. In his mind, everyone had their place. Executives made decisions, janitors cleaned up. But that morning was different. The janitor, whose name was Samuel, wasn't sweeping the floor. Instead, he was sitting confidently at Michael's mahogany desk, staring out at the skyline. Michael felt his blood pressure rise. "Excuse me," he said sharply. "Why are you in my chair?" Samuel turned slowly, not flustered at all. "Because someone needs to remind you what this chair really means." Michael frowned. "And what would you know about this chair?" Samuel leaned forward. "More than you think, because once I had one just like it." Michael laughed bitterly. A janitor claiming he was once a CEO? Impossible. But Samuel's steady gaze didn't falter. "Before you dismiss me," Samuel said, "hear my story." Against his instincts, Michael sat down across from him. Samuel began to tell a tale of 20 years ago, how he'd been the founder of a thriving construction company, a man respected in his field, with hundreds of employees. But then came the recession. Banks pulled loans, contracts collapsed, and one bad deal sent everything spiraling. In the end, Samuel lost it all. His company, his home, even his family walked away. "To survive," Samuel said quietly, "I took the first job I could find. That's how I ended up here. Sweeping floors, in the very building where men like me used to make decisions." Michael felt his stomach twist. Samuel wasn't lying. His voice carried the weight of truth. "And you know what I learned sitting in this chair?" Samuel continued. "It doesn't make you better than anyone. It doesn't guarantee success. It just gives you responsibility. Responsibility to remember the people who keep this place standing, even the ones holding a broom." Michael swallowed hard. For the first time, he didn't see a janitor. He saw a man who had lived, built, lost, and learned lessons money couldn't buy. Samuel stood, letting Michael reclaim his seat. "I don't need this chair anymore," he said. "But maybe you need to understand what it really means." Michael lowered himself into the leather chair, but it didn't feel the same. Samuel's words echoed in his head. All his wealth, all his power, suddenly seemed fragile, temporary. He looked up. "Samuel, why did you tell me this?" The janitor smiled faintly. "Because someday you might end up where I am. And when that day comes, you'll understand that worth isn't measured by titles or chairs. It's measured by how you treat people when you're sitting in them." From that day on, Michael changed. He started greeting staff by name, stopping to talk with security guards, receptionists, and yes, janitors. He introduced new programs to support employees at every level, offering education and safety nets. And as for Samuel, he remained a janitor by choice. But whenever Michael saw him, he didn't just see a man with a broom, he saw a teacher, a reminder that success is never permanent, and humility is the strongest foundation of all. Because sometimes The greatest lessons don't come from boardrooms or billion-dollar deals. They come from the quiet wisdom of those society overlooks.